The call came in during a rare moment of quiet at our forward operating base in Afghanistan. I was sitting in the communications room, finishing up some paperwork when my phone lit up with my sister-in-law Amanda's name. "Hey, soldier girl," she chirped, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Just wanted to let you know I found the perfect house. Thanks for helping me buy it." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about, Amanda?" "Oh, don't play dumb. I used your savings, all of it. You're never home anyway, always running off to play soldier. That money was just sitting there doing nothing." My name is Captain Sarah Mitchell, and at 32, I'd spent the last decade serving in the Army's intelligence unit. While my brother James had married Amanda 3 years ago, I'd been deployed twice, missing their wedding and most family gatherings. Now, sitting thousands of miles from home, I was listening to her casually announce she'd stolen my life savings. "That money was for my mother's medical treatments," I said, keeping my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. The $380,000 I'd saved through combat pay, bonuses, and careful investing was meant to help Mom fight her stage 3 cancer. Amanda laughed. "Please, Aunt Marie is doing fine. My new house, though, it's gorgeous. 4 bedrooms, a pool, everything I deserve. James agrees it's perfect for starting our family." I doubted my brother knew anything about this. James was a kind soul, always trying to see the best in everyone, especially his wife. That's why I'd never told him about Amanda's previous attempts to access my accounts or her snide comments about my service. "The military has strict protocols about financial fraud, Amanda," I warned, already pulling up my banking app. "You might want to rethink this." "Fraud?" she scoffed. "You gave me your banking details months ago, remember? For emergencies?" Well, I decided this was an emergency. My realtor was about to sell to someone else. I hadn't given her anything, but I remembered the day she helped organize my home office during my last leave, insisting it was her way of supporting the family while I was deployed. Now I knew what she'd really been looking for. "One last chance, Amanda. Return the money." "Or what?" "You'll run to James. He won't believe you. I'm his wife. You're just his absent sister who picks the military over family. Besides, the money's already gone. Spent. Done." She paused, and I could hear the smirk in her voice. "Enjoy your deployment, Sarah. Don't worry about visiting when you're back. You won't be welcome in my new house anyway." The line went dead. I sat there, staring at my phone, my hands steady from years of training in crisis situations. This was different from any battlefield I faced, but I'd learned long ago that the best defense is being prepared. I opened my laptop and logged into my secure military email. 3 months ago, when I'd noticed some suspicious attempts to access my accounts, I quietly filed a report with the Military Intelligence Financial Crimes Unit. They helped me set up silent alerts and tracking protocols on all my accounts. Standard procedure for deployed service members at risk of financial fraud. Every transaction Amanda had made was already flagged, documented, and being monitored. Each login attempt, every transfer, all traced back to her IP address. She thought she was stealing from a naive soldier too busy serving her country to notice. Instead, she just triggered an investigation that would involve not just military intelligence, but federal banking authorities. I picked up my secure line and dialed a familiar number. "Colonel Richards, remember that financial situation we discussed? It just escalated." The colonel's voice was grim. "How bad, Captain?" "My sister-in-law emptied my accounts. $380,000, sir. Money meant for my mother's cancer treatments. The money we were monitoring after those suspicious access attempts." "Yes, sir. She just called to brag about using it to buy a house." There was a pause, then a low whistle. "She actually called to confess. While you're deployed? That's a special kind of stupid, Captain. She thinks being my brother's wife protects her. That family ties mean I won't pursue this." "She clearly doesn't know you very well," the colonel said, "or understand what happens when someone commits fraud against a deployed service member. I'm activating the investigation protocol now. Do you want to inform your brother, or should we handle it through official channels?" I thought about James, about how this would hurt him. But I also thought about our mother, fighting cancer while Amanda spent money meant for her treatment. "Official channels, sir. She needs to learn there are consequences." "Copy that. We'll coordinate with domestic authorities. Captain, your mother's treatment won't be delayed. The Army takes care of its own." After hanging up, I sat back in my chair, feeling the weight of what was coming. Amanda thought she'd won, that her new house was secure. She had no idea she'd just triggered an investigation that would uncover every financial decision she'd ever made. I opened my laptop again, this time to write an email to James. He deserved to hear it from me, even if I couldn't tell him everything yet. Dear James, something's happened involving Amanda and my savings. Military authorities will be reaching out. I'm sorry you're going to be caught in the middle of this, but some choices can't be undone. I love you, brother. Sarah. As I hit send, my phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. She'd sent a photo of herself standing in front of a large house, champagne glass in hand. Thanks for your service, sis. I saved the photo. More evidence for the investigation. Then I turned back to my military duties, letting the wheels of justice begin turning. Amanda thought she was celebrating a victory, but she just started a war she couldn't win. Looking at the mountain range outside our base, I remembered something our drill sergeant used to say. The best revenge isn't serving it hot or cold. It's letting the system you serve deliver it for you. Amanda was about to learn exactly what that meant. 2 weeks after Amanda's call, the investigation moved faster than even I expected. Colonel Richards kept me updated through secure channels, each report revealing more of Amanda's deception. Captain, you might want to sit down for this, he said during our weekly briefing. The Financial Crimes Unit didn't just find the theft of your savings. They uncovered a pattern. I leaned back in my chair, the desert heat seeping through the command center walls. What kind of pattern, sir? Your sister-in-law has been planning this for months. She created fake email accounts pretending to be you, attempted to access your military benefits, and even tried to redirect your combat pay. The house purchase was just the final move. The revelation hit me harder than any IED blast. Amanda hadn't just stolen my money on impulse. She orchestrated a calculated scheme while playing the devoted sister-in-law. There's more, the colonel continued. The house she bought, she didn't just use your money. She forged your signature as a co-owner, probably thinking it would protect her if she got caught. Instead, she committed mortgage fraud. I closed my eyes, thinking of James. My brother's world was about to shatter, and I couldn't even be there to help him through it. The FBI has been notified, Colonel Richards added. They're coordinating with our Financial Crimes Unit. Captain, they're moving in tomorrow. Back in my quarters that night, I received an email from our family lawyer, Michael Sullivan. He'd been handling our mother's medical arrangements and had discovered something disturbing. Sarah, I don't know if you're aware, but someone attempted to access your mother's medical trust fund last week. The request was denied, but it came from Amanda's email address. She claimed to be acting on your behalf. I've already reported this to the investigators. My hands shook as I read his words. Even after stealing my savings, Amanda had tried to get her hands on Mom's medical fund. The thought of her attempting to steal money meant for Mom's cancer treatments made my blood boil. The next morning, I received a series of frantic texts from James. Sarah, what's happening? FBI agents just took Amanda from our house. They're saying something about fraud and theft from a service member. This has to be a mistake. Amanda said you gave her permission. Please call me. Before I could respond, another message came through, this time from Amanda's phone. You vindictive bitch. You really called the feds on family? James will never forgive you for this. I hope you're happy in your precious army while you destroy our lives. I forwarded her message to Colonel Richards. More evidence for the case. Then I called James through a secure line. His voice was rough, like he'd been crying. Sarah, please tell me this isn't what it looks like. I wish I could, James, but Amanda stole my savings, money meant for Mom's treatment. She didn't just take it, she planned it for months. She said you gave her permission, he whispered. Said you wanted to help us start a family. James, I'm sending you something. The investigators cleared me to share it. I forwarded him the file Colonel Richards had prepared. Screenshots of Amanda's fake emails, records of her failed attempts to access my military benefits, and finally, the recording of her call to me, bragging about stealing my money. The silence on his end was deafening. There's something else, I said gently. She tried to access Mom's medical trust fund last week. His sharp intake of breath told me everything. James had always defended Amanda, always believed the best of her. That faith was crumbling in real time. Mom's treatment money, but she knew she visited Mom in the hospital last month. She saw how sick. His voice broke. I'm so sorry, James. I never wanted you to get hurt in this. Don't apologize, he said firmly. You're not the one who needs to be sorry. I can't believe I didn't see it. All those times she asked about your finances, insisted on organizing your papers. Bob, Sarah, I was so blind. The pain in his voice cut deep. James had always been my protector when we were kids, standing up to bullies, cheering me on when I joined the military. Now I was protecting him, even if it meant breaking his heart with the truth. The FBI agent said this is serious, he continued. Something about special protections for deployed service members. The Military Extraterritorial Jurisdiction Act, I explained. It makes crimes against deployed service members a federal offense. The penalties are severe. Good, James said, surprising me. She needs to face consequences. But Sarah, what about Mom's treatments? The Army's taking care of it. Colonel Richards fast-tracked assistance through the Military Family Support Program. Mom won't miss any treatments. He was quiet for a moment. You know what Mom said when I told her what happened? She said, your sister fights for others every day. It's about time someone fought for her. Tears pricked my eyes. Even facing cancer, our mother's main concern was her children. The house is in your name too, James added. Amanda forged documents to make you co-owner. The FBI agent said that actually works in our favor. You can claim it as restitution. I hadn't known that detail yet. Amanda's attempt to cover her tracks had backfired spectacularly. Keep the house, James, I said. Sell it, use the money for Mom's additional expenses. I don't want anything from Amanda except justice. Sarah, his voice was thick with emotion. I'm divorcing her. Papers are being drawn up tomorrow. I don't care what happens in court. I'm testifying against her. Family doesn't steal from family. After we hung up, I sat watching the sunset over the mountains of Afghanistan. Amanda had thought my deployment meant I was powerless. That distance would prevent me from stopping her. Instead, she learned a hard lesson about the long arm of military justice. My phone buzzed with an update from Colonel Richards. Suspect in custody. Initial charges: fraud against a service member, mortgage fraud, attempted medical trust fund theft. She's looking at serious federal time, Captain. Turns out your sister-in-law picked the wrong soldier to steal from. I smiled, remembering all the times Amanda had dismissed my military service, called it playing soldier. Now that same service had brought her house of cards crumbling down. The next phase would be challenging: court proceedings, testimony, the formal dismantling of Amanda's scheme. But for now I had a job to do, a country to serve, and the satisfaction of knowing that sometimes justice wears combat boots. 6 months after Amanda's arrest, I stood in my dress uniform at the federal courthouse, ready to testify. The military had arranged special leave for me to attend the proceedings, understanding the importance of seeing this through. Amanda sat at the defendant's table, her designer clothes replaced by modest business attire, her once confident smirk now a nervous frown. When she saw me enter, she quickly looked away. This wasn't the reunion she'd imagined when she'd sent that champagne selfie from my stolen house. The evidence against her was overwhelming. The prosecution presented a detailed timeline: her systematic attempts to access my accounts, the forged documents, the fake emails, and finally, the recorded phone call where she bragged about stealing from a deployed service member. But it was the attempted theft from Mom's medical trust that seemed to hit the jury hardest. Even Amanda's lawyer winced when they played her recorded call to the hospital, impersonating me to try accessing those funds. When it was my turn to testify, I spoke clearly and professionally, just as I'd been trained. I described discovering the theft while deployed, the impact it could have had on Mom's cancer treatments, and the systematic way Amanda had planned everything. And how did this affect your military duties, Captain Mitchell? The prosecutor asked. As an intelligence officer, my focus needs to be absolute. Instead, I had to worry about my mother's medical care being compromised and my family's stability being threatened. But my unit supported me and we prevented any operational impact. Amanda's lawyer tried to paint it as a family misunderstanding, claiming she planned to return the money. The prosecutor simply played her phone call again. The money's already gone. Spent. Done. The jury took less than 2 hours to reach a verdict. Guilty on all counts. At the sentencing hearing a week later, the judge didn't hold back. Mrs. Mitchell, he addressed Amanda, you didn't just commit fraud. You deliberately targeted a service member defending our country, attempted to steal from a cancer patient's medical fund, and showed no remorse until faced with consequences. This court sentences you to 7 years in federal prison, full restitution of all stolen funds, and additional fines under the Military Extraterritorial Jurisdiction Act. James sat beside me as the sentence was read, gripping my hand. His divorce had been finalized 2 months earlier, and he'd already sold the house Amanda bought with my money. The proceeds were helping with Mom's additional medical expenses. The house she was so proud of ended up helping Mom after all, he whispered, just not the way she planned. As federal marshals led Amanda away, she turned to look at us one last time. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something that might have been regret. Too little, too late. Outside the courthouse, Colonel Richards was waiting. He'd flown in to represent the unit's interests in the case. Well done, Captain, he said, saluting. The Army takes care of its own. Your mother's full treatment costs have been covered through our emergency family support program, and your restored savings are already back in your account. I returned his salute, grateful for the military family that had supported me through everything. Thank you, sir, for everything. The best news came 3 months later. Mom's doctors declared her cancer in remission. At her celebration dinner, she raised a toast that brought tears to my eyes. To my daughter, who fights battles both far and near, and to the real meaning of family, not those who take, but those who protect. James hosted the dinner in his new apartment, much smaller than Amanda's dream house, but filled with actual love and support. He'd started volunteering at the local Veterans Center, saying he wanted to give back to the military community that had helped expose the truth. My unit welcomed me back with knowing smiles and quiet respect. The story had spread, not of Amanda's betrayal, but of how military justice had protected one of their own. New protocols were implemented to better monitor deployed service members' accounts, with our case cited as the reason. A year after Amanda's sentencing, I received a letter from her. I almost didn't read it, but James encouraged me to get closure. Dear Sarah, she wrote, I've had a lot of time to think about what I did. I was so focused on having the perfect life, the perfect house, that I became the worst version of myself. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know I regret not appreciating the real treasure I had. Being part of your family. I'm sorry. I filed the letter away without responding. Some bridges, once burned, shouldn't be rebuilt. Mom's recovery continued strengthening, and she eventually felt well enough to visit me on base during family day. Watching her beam with pride as my commanding officer praised my handling of the case, I realized something profound. Amanda's betrayal hadn't weakened our family, it had revealed its true strength. James found love again, this time with a military nurse who understood the value of service and family. At their small wedding, he asked me to be his best sister. During the reception, Mom pulled me aside, her eyes bright with happy tears. You know, Sarah, she said, sometimes the worst betrayals lead us to our greatest blessings. Look at us now, stronger, closer, and wiser. Looking around at my real family, biological and military, I couldn't help but agree. Amanda had tried to steal my savings, but she failed to understand that true wealth isn't in bank accounts or dream houses. It's in the bonds that hold us together, the principles we stand for, and the love that no act of betrayal can diminish. That's a lesson worth more than all the money in the world.